Okay. Good afternoon. My name is André Biancarelli. I'm lecturer and researcher here at Institute of Economics, and it's a pleasure to be here with two colleagues from the other part of the world, a long journey to Brazil, and our colleagues that are dealing with the same topic. This morning we made a short ceremony to celebrate the signature of agreement cooperation to develop a research project about this topic. And my task here, besides to control the time and present them, I will try to make a very short introduction to the team and let the floor to Anastasia and Alexandra to develop further the topic of the lecture. That is the BRICS and reform of the international monetary and financial system. I will speak very shortly, but there's a lot of topics here, 5 topics. I will start with a list, just a list of BRICS initiatives on that ground. Try to organize in a map how to organize the initiatives in different fields or in different levels of cooperation. This map is based on regional financial integration or financial cooperation that we are trying to adapt to multilateral, that is in the case of BRICS. And then some comments in theoretical grounds about our way to see this kind of international monetary things. That is, we called here in Campinas the currency hierarchy approach, and a short notice about the times today international monetary and financial system, and some very brief comments about some specific parts of the field that certainly they will develop further. Here, using 2 very recent documents, they're not papers, but they're documents, short documents. One is from Bruno. Where is Bruno? Not here. Our organizer here, Bruno De Conti, that published a note, Projeto Transforma, that has more or less this topic. Initiatives from BRICS to the reform of international law. And Bruno lists there 5 initiatives. The New Development Bank, and that is the most famous, the most notorious initiative about BRICS. It's good to start saying that BRICS is a kind of cooperation effort agreement that has some dimensions. This morning we are talking about geopolitical issues and political or scientific and technological issues. But since the launching of the initiative, financial and monetary aspects were at the front of the union. So probably the New Development Bank is the most concrete symbol of the BRICS today. Maybe I am a little bit biased because I work with those topics, but what BRICS has in terms of more concrete initiatives is the Development Bank. But another initiatives, Contingent Reserve Agreement, ideas in the plan of ideas or intentions, the development of an alternative credit rating agency, and the most discussed topics of a platform for payments in local currency for international trade, international payments in local currencies, and the topic of CBDCs, initiative of congregation or integration of central bank digital currencies that are most discussed, at least in Brazil. Those 2 last points are very frequent in the public debate those days. More or less at the same time, I received from Alexandra last week, a short document from the BRICS Expert Council from Russia that was written by them and Alexei, the other colleague on the project, that organizes the initiatives in three levels or three fields. I don't remember the name. The first one is reforming financial institutions. That is more rhetoric and more intention in the plan of intentions. The second one, boosting mutual investment, and they mention a BRICS Business Council, strategy for BRICS economic partnership, and inside the new development banking, the idea of multilateral guarantees and talks and intentions of a credit rating agency. And then the most hot topic, a framework for international settlement that they put together the local currency finance from New Development Bank and other multilateral development banks, an initiative, a possible or a desired initiative for a local currency bond fund, and BRICS cross-border payments initiative, and CBDCs integration efforts. Here's some images. Then a proposed CBDC transaction structure. This could be things like a BRICS bridge. Then BRICS Pay, that would be the integration of domestic payment systems and the headquarters of New Development Bank. I use it to use this organization of initiatives of regional monetary and financial cooperation that divides. This is inspired by an UNCTAD report, I guess the Trade and Development Report of 2007, that was dedicated to regional cooperation, and they divide the initiatives in three levels: short-term, macroeconomic coordination, and long-term finance. And we can put inside these boxes each one of the regional experience. You can think about the Union of European Payments after the Second World War, even the Euro initiative. In Latin America, we have some experience about the local currency payment system, and we can organize. And here, that part, long-term finance, there is a role for development banks and regional bond markets. I like to put this one just to think that when we talk about reform or initiatives related to international monetary financial systems, we can talk about a lot of things, very different things. Attention are in currently discussions about BRICS initiatives are located on payment systems, being trade settlements or another mechanism to facilitate trade. But there is a lot of, the map is much larger than this topic. Just to put things, and we can maybe later go back to this and say the relationship between the three levels or the relationship between the initiatives in each field. Well, here, just some words in terms of theoretical. Here in Campinas, we think about this topic, this very important part of our worries about international economy and Brazilian and peripheral countries' insertion on international economy, departing from what we called the currency hierarchy approach. This is a Keynesian structuralist view of international monetary financial system based, that is departing from Latin American structuralist tradition that sees things in terms of finance and money internationally. There is one side that is marked by instability, speculation, and crisis, but what matters more to us is that the contemporary international monetary financial system is marked by asymmetries. And then we used to organize these asymmetries in three levels also. The monetary one, the currencies are not the same. All the currencies are equal, but not everyone, things like that. So here the idea of a pyramid, of a currency hierarchy, and then departing from this asymmetry, the other ones, the macroeconomic, meaning that the different levels, the different freedom degrees of liberty to make macroeconomic policy, and then the financial one, the financial asymmetry that assumes the form of capital flow cycles, international capital flows led by external factors, etc., etc., etc. So this is our lens to see things like that. From this point of view, with these concepts, theoretical concepts in mind, it's obvious that the current contemporary, and we are talking about the last decades, international monetary and financial system is obviously dominated by one clear top currency, US dollars, and then some others convertible or international currency, liquid currencies like euro, British pound, Japanese yen, Swiss franc, etc. And our currencies were located at the low level of the pyramid, or in that scheme is from a Bruno De Conte paper also. When you go far away from the core currency, you need more interest payments and more liquidity premium, etc. But the fact is that in recent years, this figure is being under a transformation. I'm not, as we discussed this morning, I don't think we are on the brink of a currency transition, monetary hegemonic position transition. But there are some signs of more disputed and some things happening in that field. The economic rebalancing in terms of trade, production, even in finance, if you measure the size of GDP, trade flows, etc., the picture today is a little bit different from 10 or 20 or 30 years ago. Some political initiatives, especially Chinese initiatives related to its currency, but also those from BRICS. And more recently, and we are not just talking about Trump administration, prior to this, after the conflict in Ukraine, the use of the dollar dominance as a weapon it's more or less a sign of things maybe rebalancing in these fields, because sanctions and swift abolition, etc., and the current trade war, there are signs of things in transition. So, and all the technological transformations related to international payments and domestic payments also. So, my point of view here, that we are in the middle of a slow but apparently inevitable trend. And I don't think that this will be a matter of years, but probably we are on the brink of a long period of interesting times, but maybe turbulent times in that field. So here, I will pass just some evidence of this. To finish, I'm talking a little bit. Some comments in terms of specific areas of this map. So thinking about cooperation, some people, especially non-specialized, are thinking about a common currency. And sometimes this gets the headlines of newspapers say, BRICS are preparing a common currency. So it's good to say, at least my point of view, I'm not implying anyone in this opinion, but this is a distant, and I don't know, I really don't know if it's a desirable goal. What I say that the theoretical basis that led to the definitions and preconditions and steps to a common currency is not interesting to my point of view, to my formation in terms of theoretical. That is the optimum currency area paradigm. Convergence and restrictions on macroeconomic policies, etc. Even because if in terms of regional cooperation this is difficult, imagine countries very different from country, from geographic position, and very low level of macro cooperation and integration. So this is not the paradigm. The OCA theory is not our path. We used to call this, we defend an incremental strategy that is defending steps to facilitate trade, to facilitate international payments, but at the same time working for more advanced forms of cooperation, particularly in that fields of NDBs, reserve pooling, rating agencies, or referring to that map to fill different boxes at the same time, not concentrated on one direction and without the objective, or at least the direct objective of a common currency in the short term. Two more specific comments. In terms of payment system, apart from that technological CBDCs and BRICS Pay initiatives, there is a question related, and I'm talking this inspired by the Latin American experience, that there are at least two possibilities or two levels of ambitions of a payment system. You can just reduce transactions costs, just to incentive regional or bilateral or regional trade. Reducing transaction costs is a more technical and more simple mechanism. And here, recently in Latin America, we have SML, System of Payments in Local Currency, Sistema de Pagos en Moneda Local, or something like that. Or you could think about more advanced, more ambitious payment system that involved credit, trade credit. In during the 80s, Brazil and its neighbors, we had CCR, in English, agreement on, well, I forgot the name in English. Convênio de Pagos e Créditos Recíprocos. Reciprocal, no. Yeah, it was a system of liquidation, no, a period of compensation without disbursement of US dollars. 3 months, then countries exchange goods and services without payment and just pay the difference after the period of compensation. This was very, very important in a time with dollar shortage in this region. So the question here is that you can think about a payment system just dealing with technical and facilitation in technical terms, or a more advanced that means effectively currency savings, international currency savings. The last one, things that my colleagues probably will deal in more detail, related to CBDCs, but not only the initiatives of BRICS, the technical difficulties and the challenges, but also it's a novelty, more or less recent. The reactions from the US to these initiatives, the recently launched Genius Act, that it's a very complicated thing, but it's a plan. I don't know. Maybe you can give us an opinion, more specialized opinion. It's a kind of reaction from the US to this initiative, to these intentions. But that is related to cryptocurrencies, the dichotomy between stable coins and versus CBDCs, etc. This is a point to discussion. And then an agenda that we developed, me, Marcos Vinicius, and Bruno, in a paper that is to be published. That there is an agenda about the role of multilateral development banks in this context. We think that the development banks like NDB, but not only NDB, they have a role to credit in local currency, okay, but also another aspect to cooperation. Hedge mechanisms, Marcos Vinicius was talking a little bit this morning about hedging mechanisms that could be developed or incentive or fostered by World Bank or Bank of Inter-American Development Bank. We think that developing and fostering international market in BRICS currencies could be a role for these institutions. The direct support for this other financial cooperation payment system, and also a role in short-term liquidity operations like a more or less IMF or something role to this kind of institution. And then, last but not least, in opposition to NDB, there was, since 2014, the idea or the creation, institutionally, there was an initiative called the Contingent Reserve Arrangement that could be an alternative or a complement to IMF, but this is not an effective mechanism today. There are a lot of things to discuss and to think about why this doesn't happen so far. This is my very brief message here, not so brief. Thank you very much. And now, and now I will present to you a real classic about the topic.
Hi everybody, my name is Anastasia. Probably in Russian it's more like Anastasia, but I think it would be easier, to call me Anastasia. I will go there. André, that's okay. Anyway. Yes.
But the correct form?
Anastasia. Yeah, that's okay. Okay. So if you allow me, I would like to stand up and to walk a bit because it's easier for me. I like to do that. And today, me and Alexandra will present to you some thoughts on this same topic, basically, as André already started here. And the topic is mainly the topic of our joint project, Approaches to Alternative International Monetary System, HSE and Unicamp. And actually we will be happy to see all of you participating. Some of the students here are already participating, so you can join us. And some of the rules and structure of this presentation is that first, if you have any question like short one, if you didn't understand something or something like that, please ask them immediately and let's have a discussion. Because I will be asking you questions, and I'm waiting for some opinions of you. If you have some big question like what's the light from or something like that, yeah, let's leave it for the end of the presentation. And my part will be here mostly about the theoretical foundation of the choice of currency in different roles. and like micro foundations. And then Alexandra will follow me with the particular BRICS steps that was already taken, already in effect, or just planned to point this microeconomic foundation to boost national currencies. And then we will have some fun, please. Don't be sleepy, because in the end there will be something. Okay, so 1 second. Okay. So first of all, it's probably all of you know that today dollar is the most dominant currency in the world, and it is dominant in several areas. It is dominant as the main reserve, international reserves, for central banks. It's dominant on the financial markets. Most of the debts are nominated in United States dollar. Most of the foreign exchange turnover, it is from United States dollar. Most of the biggest share of the payments is in United States dollar. And dollar is the main invoicing currency. Yes, so a lot of contracts, trade contracts, are nominated in United States dollar. Yeah, even when Brazil is trading with Russia, for example, sometimes producer and exporter and importer, they nominate the price in United States dollar. Besides that, they could do it in national currency. So how do you think, why dollar is dominant? Like right now, not talking yet about historical foundation, but right now, what makes producer and importer from, I don't know, coffee from Brazil to Russia and nominates the price in dollars? Yeah. Yeah, definitely. One of the reasons about trade imbalances, I need to explain a bit. We in Russia, we had this pain with the Indian rupees. I don't know, maybe you have heard about it, because Russia and India tried to make trade in national currencies in Indian rupees, and because of institutional peculiarities, a lot of Indian rupees hanged in the balance of Moscow, and Moscow couldn't stand them. So student from Russia is pointing directly at this reason, but actually there could be a lot of different reasons. Like basically this one is about illiquidity of national currencies. Also it could be instability, volatility of national currencies, and so on. So what about invoicing currency? I've already said that there are basically three big roles for every currency: as a reserve asset, as a financial flows unit, let's say it like that, and as an invoicing currency. So what are the main factors to choose an invoicing currency for producers? Basically, there were several theoretical concepts. That the first one was like exporters choose invoicing currency, their own currency as invoicing, because the next concept was the producer choose the local market currency as invoicing, because some reasons. I wouldn't dig into that right now, but apparently it seems that most of the times in the world, dominant currency as United States dollar is chosen to be an invoicing currency. Here on the graph, I like this graph very much. It's not mine, it's from the article, there is a link. we can see that the share of United States dollar, the red and the orange one, in invoicing is much, much higher than the trade of United States. So there are countries in the world that are not United States, but they still use United States dollar to invoice. And that could be a problem. Yeah, first of all, there is such thing, I don't know if you have studied such thing as exchange rate pass-through. But probably you felt it somehow when your currencies depreciate. You can feel it in the prices. Yeah, Russian students already like, yeah, we know that thing. Because in Russia, that's a huge problem. Actually, Russian ruble is really connected with the inflation, and all the depreciation transmits instantly in the inflation. Also, prices are moving together with United States dollar, and we have a huge spillover of Fed's policy into national economies that could even not be connected with the United States so much, but they still invoice in United States dollars. So, yeah, and this is the part of the world economy where we can find some signs of de-dollarization trend. For now, it is mostly concentrated in Russian economy and economies around Russian economy, all due to sanctions, basically. But still, yeah, here on the graph we can see the largest declines of invoicing share in dollars in different countries. This is Russia, Belarus, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, Uruguay, Mongolia, Armenia, and Morocco, probably, yeah. Thank you. Yeah, so definitely Russia cannot exist without the de-dollarization, yeah, because economic sanctions and a lot of we have a lot less possibilities to invoice in dollars, basically. But how do you think, why other countries try to de-dollarize? Yeah.
And second, namely Ukraine, Georgia, or Armenia, and I would say Russia, if I using the dollar, that we get sanctioned by over.
Yeah, that's one reason to the secondary sanctions. What else? There are some other reasons. Yeah. That's a billion-dollar question. Yeah, those are all very good, but still only political reasons. And there are also economic reasons to do that. Yeah, because on the previous slide we discussed that this link to United States dollar in prices, it creates spillovers to the national economy from United States economy. That's the first thing. Yeah, and invoicing in national currencies, it's actually basically just cheaper, yeah, because you don't need to exchange your currency into dollars and then into the second currency. So, and pay to JP Morgan. Yeah, that's true. Okay, so we can see on this map some efforts of different countries to boost the national currency's role in international settlements. And Russia here is a great example. Yes, due to sanctions, yes, but still we have the huge percent of national currencies used in international trade now. It's more than 40%. And for example, in the trade with China, in Russia-China trade, we have more than 90% export and import in national currencies. Yes, basically in yuan, but still. This is because China is doing the same great effort into boosting national currency, into using national currency in trade settlements, in the financial flows, and so on. On this map, we don't have China. Yeah, all the gray areas, there are no data areas, and this is because China do not publish this data. And this map is also, we didn't collect this data. It is database from the previous article. The main author is Boz, so you can Google it. That's a great database, actually. Okay, so moving on to the financial flows. The reasons to choose currency for financial flows mainly lie somewhere around some thoughts about transaction costs. Yeah, so basically we choose currency for financial flows, which is liquid currency, safe currency, yeah, currency with lower exchange cost, lower hedging costs, and so on. And one of the problems that one of the most researched problems about currency's choice in financial flows is original sin. I don't know, maybe you have heard about this problem? Yeah? No? Raise your hands if you heard about this problem. Okay, half of you, okay. Yeah, so I don't know, because of André probably, yeah? Yes, so for those who haven't heard, I can say that original sin is inability of a country to borrow in the national currency. Yeah, so they can borrow in United States dollar, but if they want to borrow in national currencies, no one is ready to provide them with the amount of money, with the loan. I can agree with co-authors raised this problem like 20 years ago and proposed some measurements. I will not go into the details, but the lesser the better. Yeah, so if the index is less, it means that country has more opportunities to borrow in national currencies. And here we can see that actually there is also a trend to using national currencies more. Yeah, so for example, for this graph, it's one of the indicators, doesn't matter for now. Yeah, we can see that it's almost one, so almost no one borrows with national currency. And starting from 2005-2006, countries start to try to borrow in national currencies, basically because of economic goods encouraging economic situation, then global financial crisis, and after that interest rates in advanced economies was really low, and it also encouraged the borrowing in national currencies. Yes? It is a good question. It is connected, definitely. About the financial knowledge part, no, because everyone, most of the population has a knowledge to put money in a bank, and then bank has a knowledge to give money to the government. But basically, yes, it is also a problem when the savings are too low for the population to lend to the government. Yeah, so this trend has increased in the global financial crisis-ish, and then several years after that, but then the trend decreased a bit. Yeah, so for now, some countries overcame this original sin problem, like, for example, Brazil overcame, and André has a beautiful article about that. Yeah, but some countries didn't. Okay, so yeah, let's look at the graph. Here, the share of national currency in the total government debt for different BRICS markets. The first graph is for bigger BRICS markets, yeah, the second is for smaller BRICS markets. So the blue part is national currency, the orange part is other currencies, mainly United States dollar, yeah, but there are some euro debts and Chinese yuan debt. Besides China's debt. You can see that almost all debt for now for BRICS countries is in national currency. But here, actually, this is a small line in this picture, yeah, because this is not debt held by foreign investors. It's the total debt. Yeah, so for China, this part, this debt, we couldn't say that it is held by foreign investors. That foreign investors are ready to lend in yuan. Yeah, maybe it's just Chinese citizen, but that's a question of how to calculate it differently. That's existing scientific question. But still, we can see that we have 5 relatively big markets in the BRICS, relatively big debt markets, and 5 relatively small markets. Yeah, moving on. How to choose reserve currency? Yeah, what are the main arguments to choose, main factors to choose the reserve currencies? Basically the same. Yeah, we can preparate them in more details, but we wouldn't stop for that now. But still, there are 2 main groups for the reserve currency, and these two main groups of factors, and this is also I can bring theory, and these 2 groups are Mercury and Mars, like Mercury as a god of commerce and Mars as a god of war. So we have economic factors to choose some currency as a reserve fund, like dollar is safe, yeah, because dollar is not too volatile, we can use it. Or we have geopolitics factors to choose some currency, like United States is an ally, yeah, we should choose dollar as a reserve currency. And actually there are some proofs that it is the geopolitical factors that are really in place in modern world. But in here we also see the trend for de-dollarization. Actually in reserve currency is the biggest trend. We can see that the share of dollar decreased from 65 in 2016 to less than 60 in 2024. And this is because of euro, a bit yuan and other currencies. And also we see really huge trends for increasing gold holdings in reserves. How do you think? Why is that? Why, starting from 2022, 2023, countries started to increase the share of gold in reserves so steep? Huh? Trump tariffs, yeah. That's one of the reasons. Yeah, I agree with that.
I think the green transition, how can it mine, for example, other commodities such as oil and less reliable, whereas gold is that can come back and double kind of share.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, actually, I agree with all of you because all of the answers are about the geopolitical foundation. Yeah, because I'm an economist, so I think that in the end, the foundation is always economical. But here, economical foundation is that the uncertainty increased so much, so it could be inefficient to choose this high share of dollar as a reserve asset and economically efficient to choose gold. And all these, actually all these roles of the currency are connected. And it is called, in the literature, it's called exorbitant privilege. And for United States, it means that they can borrow cheaper, they can borrow quicker, they pay lower interest on their debts. And for the developing countries, it means higher vulnerability, currency mismatches, sudden stops, and so on and so forth. And we can see the different roles of the currency. I'll show you the picture with correlation. Important thing, that's not a causation. I'm not saying that one factor causes the other, but I'm saying that it's related. That if the currency is volatile on this axis, probably the share of national currency in export settlement will be lower. Yes, so we do not use volatile currency to invoice. Pretty obvious, yeah. Here the same thing, and here it's share of government debt in national currency. If we have higher share of national currency in government debt, probably we also use it in international settlements. It's not like a strong link, but there are other factors. Okay. And here I will give the floor to my colleague Alexandra that will tell you about the BRICS efforts into this process.
Okay, thank you, Anastasia. We made it one presentation for 2 minutes, so you can applaud us later. And for the BRICS. So the national currencies we discussed almost from the first meeting of the BRICS. And here is my first question to you. When was the BRICS first meeting? It's a tricky one, so think twice. Yes, please? No? I think it was 2006, something without Brazil. In China. Almost correct, almost correct. So I'll take that one. So not to make it wrong. So in 2009, correct in that way that this was the first leaders meeting, right? The first leaders meeting with a joint statement, not a declaration yet, but still. And in 2006, we had the first meeting of the BRICS foreign ministers. That one I forgot to take, so there will be no recording of my first question, but we'll cope with it. Okay, so we had Brazil, and basically this is my favorite story about the BRICS, because for me BRICS about friendship, partnership, and everything, all of those naive words. Yeah, but you are right that first we had the BRIC triangle, Russia, India, and China, and in 2006, in September, during the General Assembly, the Brazilian Foreign Minister, Celso Amorim, approached Sergei Lavrov, the Russian Foreign Ministers. They worked together in the UN back somewhere, I'm not sure, and he said, let's discuss with the BRIC triangle the questions of the global governance. And they had a nice Brazilian coffee at the Brazilian embassy and decided that yes, they have some common approaches to the global governance problems. And in the first joint statement there was lots of interesting things. Please do read it. It's very nice. We're for everything good. We're against everything bad. But the first detailed declaration we had in 2010, and then there was the notion of the BRICS increase of the trade in national currencies and settlements in national currencies. But unfortunately, after that time, we almost didn't see any initiatives on the settlements in national currencies. And actually, students ask me always why I don't put the new development bank here. Yeah, so you can see that it's not there on this slide, and you didn't have a chance. Yeah, I skipped this this one. That's because at the beginning the new development bank didn't have the goal of the increase in settlements in national currencies. It was just established to create an opportunity to fund in infrastructure projects and sustainable development projects in BRICS countries, and only afterwards, after several years, we had the national currencies issue included in the strategy. And here I would love to remember one of the Russian phrases. Directly from Russian to English, it is translated as what the eyes hear, the hands do, and it's more like the things are difficult before they are getting easy. And that is exactly what we have with the BRICS in almost all of the spheres. And I love the Brazilian declaration, the Rio declaration this year, because they had 3 very interesting themes in there. But returning to the national currencies, well, as Anastasia explained it very well, we have geopolitical and economic foundations of the dollar dominance, and I fear to change anything, but the hands started to do. In 2017, we agreed on our first initiative to increase the liquidity of the national currencies. And we agreed on the BRICS local currency bond fund. Unfortunately, it's not operating yet because we couldn't agree. Marcus probably knows, and then the insights, but we couldn't agree on the structure of this fund. So how could we make the shares of these national currencies of the bonds in this fund? Should it be by GDP? Should it be equal? Should it be by turnover of the currencies? So how could we make it? Because anyway, if we make it by GDP or turnover, the China will lead. Yeah, but they won't agree on the equal distribution because they're leading in this. So we still have discussions on that one, and it's good that it still appears in the declaration, so we don't put this initiative away. These are good news for me. And in 2010, for the first time, we put the settlements in national currencies in the BRICS strategy for the economic partnership. Who knows about the strategy for the BRICS economic partnership? Who read? Okay, was it the first one or the second? No one. No. Okay, raise your hands those who had some disciplines on BRICS. No, not my students. they do, I know. Okay, do you have any basic knowledge of BRICS? Okay, oh, not my students. Okay, so we have now finishing the second strategy for the BRICS economic partnership. The first one was approved in 2015 for the 5 years. In 2020 we finished the first one, and now we finished the second one, and it's basically in the Rio declaration that we finished the second one and we are going to prepare the third one. And we put it in the strategy. Yes? So we would like to increase the settlements in national currencies, and it's also a good step for me. In Beijing Declaration in 2022, we agreed on the BRICS payment task force, and we started to collaborate in the field of payments. Everyone knows about BRICS Pay, which also doesn't work. Unfortunately, the hands do, but slowly.
And in 2023, we also had this in the declaration that we tasked the ministers of finance with this task of exploring the ways to increase the settlements in national currencies. In 2024, we actually had this report. Anyone read the report? No, you should. I'm really surprised that you didn't read the report, Marcus. But probably you thought that I'm talking only to students. Yes, you did? Oh, really? Great. The one, yes, this one. Did you like it? Okay, thank you very much. Okay. Yeah, it's kind of a general one, but what I like about it that it is the first document that was prepared solely by emerging economies. So not by IMF, not by the World Bank, not by the US, but by the group of the emerging economies, and they agree on it. And it's really great news. And in the Rio Declaration, what I like about the Rio Declaration is the continuity of the themes. So they mentioned this report, they continued the work on the report, and they had a more detailed report of the central bankers. It's a closed one. No one can have a look except the central bankers. Unfortunately, me too. I'm not a central banker. I'm only an expert. But I hope that we will continue the work on these initiatives. So, in the research, as André also already mentioned, the possible ways to increase the settlements in to de-dollarize, I would say, the settlements of BRICS, there are two possible ways. The first one is to create a vehicle currency, which is not to be confused with the monetary single currency that André mentioned. I totally agree that we are not ready for the monetary currency, but this is a totally different way. So, for example, Paulo Nogueira Batista Jr., who knows who it is? Who is Paulo? Yes, the previous president of the New Development Bank. And he has a very famous concept of this R5 vehicle currency, which he suggests that we can use in some of the public financial flows. He has all in his articles, he has the stages that we can develop this vehicle currency, and it's well, it's a common approach. It's very well researched. You can see lots of articles on the vehicle currency of BRICS, but we in our project we will focus actually, because it's just started today, project. So we will focus on the national currencies. And for the national currencies, we have created some of the institutional framework, most of which I was talking about. This is which works. This is which is agreed upon but doesn't work yet, but we hope that it will. And what we will research is the opportunities to create some platform of the multinational currency settlement. Next one. Okay, so to have this settlement in national currencies, for example, now, as Anastasia said, Anastasia, but in English it's better to, yeah, nice to, yeah, not everyone can. Okay, at the moment, to trade between Russia and Brazil in the national currencies, to trade the ruble for real, you should go through dollar. So you have the exchange rate only with US dollar, real dollar and ruble dollar. And to have the direct exchange rate, we should create the markets for these for these currencies, and the BRICS Exchange Alliance that we agreed upon several years ago could really help in that, so to create the currency pairs in BRICS, and also the currency trade agreements of the BRICS countries, which is really interesting here, because as you can see, China doesn't have lots of trade agreements in national currencies, but it trades in yuan without any of the agreements, and it's an interesting phenomenon. So with the US, we also don't have any agreements to trade in US dollars or with other countries. So we basically have them, but do not always trade, do not always need them to trade. Another opportunity to increase the liquidity of national currencies is the way that US dollar went through in the 70s when there was a crisis, and they started to ensure the prices of oil in US dollars. Well, the BRICS countries have huge markets of their commodities, of different commodities. For example, so these are production of the total BRICS countries. How many countries there in BRICS? No. Okay, another try. There are two options, 10 or 11. 11, yes. There are 10 member countries and an invited member. So the correct answer is 11 countries in BRICS. Okay, these are some of the 11 BRICS countries. Yeah. So in aluminium, we are almost 80% of the world production. Yeah? In platinum, we're almost 80% of the world production. In the grains and different food, we're almost or about 50% of the world production. It's not exporting or trade, which depends on the partners, but it's production. So it's very, very solid. And the BRICS grain exchange, which we agreed upon last year, could really help to nominate it without using the dollar. Okay, the next one. And yes, I asked the question to Marcus in the morning because this is a very interesting research question for myself, and also André had a research on this, and it's the role of the multinational and national development banks in the settlements and the increase in liquidity of the national currencies. So Marcus was thinking from the point of view of the development bank itself, which is perfectly understandable. I'm looking at the problem from the country's point of view. And from the country's point of view, the multinational development banks have in their mandates and usually have in their strategies the increase of the liquidity of the markets of the national currencies of the member countries. But as you can see here, they mostly develop the US dollar market and euro market, although I don't have here the European Development Bank. So it's Asian Development Bank, African Development Bank, Islamic Development Bank, and the New Development Bank, which is not regional but still multinational. Only the Eurasian Development Bank issues most of its bonds in rubles, but I somehow don't have it here. Well, it was about 50. The next one? Oh yes, there were loan shares, and these are liability shares. Okay, and here we have the Eurasian Development Bank with most of its liabilities in Russian rubles, 46%, and this is the only one that has a large share of the national currencies. The other one are almost non-existent. Well, the New Development Bank has in Chinese yuan. Yeah, that's also a good result. And they have this in their strategy. They have to increase the share of loans, not their borrowings, but the share of loans, which is about 25%. The previous slide, about about 20 something percent, and they have to increase it to 30% by the end of the next year. That is in their strategy, and that is perfectly achievable. So they increased by 5 percentage points during this year. So at the end of the last year it was about 20%, and now it's about 25% in national currencies. Okay, it's mostly with the yuans, but still it's a good result because they're not borrowing in US dollar or euro anymore. And the next one, and the next one. Not this one, this one. So the eyes still here, but the hands do, and I hope that we will still continue to do it and achieve the perfect results. And the next one,
These questions.
Questions, if you have. No questions.